327. Why impossible? Time travel is impossible because it makes the impossible far, far too easy. Banal, even. If you thought temporal paradoxes were dull in the stories, then just wait until you can't move for creating them. In a universe of time travel, everything becomes a relic. Relics lose their meaning. Meaning becomes worthless. You know the story. Everybody knows the story, and yet barely anybody sees the two huge yet possible flaws in it. You take a family heirloom, any heirloom, say something passed down by your grandfather. You take it back in time and you give it to your grandfather when he was a child, so he can pass it down to you. Where does the heirloom come from? Who makes it in the first place? Insoluble conundrum. Yada, yada, yada. God in heaven, even pointing out that it's tedious, is tedious. Meta-cliche. Something so drab that it can't even be safely deconstructed anymore. But 1. To hell with heirloom. It doesn't have to be anything so important. You can pick up a chocolate wrapper out of the gutter, take it back 5 minutes, and leave it where you found it, and you get the same effect. Can you imagine that? A chocolate wrapper. And it's not worth pretending that time wouldn't allow it, that a paradoxical object simply wouldn't exist. What's the universe going to do? Remove all the chocolate wrappers you might ever find? And 2. We're primed to think that any object, whether it's relic or rubbish, has a holy integrity of its own. It doesn't. A chocolate wrapper isn't indestructible. It's as prone to entropy as the rest of us. When you pick up that chocolate wrapper, the friction of your fingers against its surface will knock a few atoms off its mass. Not many, not enough to be visible, but you'll make it smaller than it was when it was put in the gutter. Then you'll go back 5 minutes and put it in the gutter, which means that when you pick it up it will, by definition, be smaller than it is when you pick it up. So when you pick it up, it'll be infinitely small, which means that when you first find it, it's infinitely large. An infinitely large chocolate wrapper. Who would have thought it? That's the thing, you see. Point 2 tells you that the whole idea is infinitely stupid, and point 1 tells you that it's impossible to stop it anyway, if you can time travel. Anyone who claims that time will somehow sort things out is an idiot. Time doesn't know what a chocolate wrapper is, let alone recognize the problem of a potentially infinite number of them all being infinitely large. This is why nobody believes in time travel, in this universe. Nobody except the archons of Faction Paradox, who must see it as their duty to resist the entropy, to get as close to the impossible as possible, without making it ordinary.